Hi, welcome back to Spirit Lounge. Sorry about the earlier video. I had to run off from my laptop because of somebody came to the door. So that video was partially completed. So we're going to go through it again today, again on this video, and hopefully I can capture some of the things I said on the last one. I tend to stream things I say, I don't practice them, so hopefully the same streaming channel will come through me and I'll be able to impart the same information and interpretations I did last time. So let's, no further ado, let's get straight into it. Okay, so this is the fourth of the fifth Nikayas, the Anguttara Nikaya, and they're split into sections called nipatas, and we're going to go through that today. The Tipitaka, as you know, is dhamma of teachings, the Buddhist faith. This is all that's known of Buddhist teachings, is in the Buddhist Pali, which is called the Tipitaka. 5 main collections within it, the Digha, the Majjhima, and the Samyutta, which we've already gone through, and this is the fourth. This is the Anguttara Nikaya, which we'll be going through entirely today. The Anguttara is split into increments of 1, so each part of each Nipata, which are the 11 books of them, there's not 11 videos, so I've condensed them, gives you builds up on interpretations, builds up on lessons and sermons and teaching points. It just builds up, each one adds to another. So the first one gives you one main teaching point, the next one gives you 2, the next one gives you 3, the next one gives you 4, and so forth. The whole of the Nikaya, the Anguttara, is actually several thousand suttas, which are not condensable into this book that I'm using. So this has taken a shortened version of them all, which the original one would be 550,000 words, so it would be an enormous piece of work. Okay, the Catukka Nipata. On 4 things that must be known in order to be liberated. Remember, liberated means released from the cycle of rebirth. Remember that. That's what this liberated means, is the liberation is the movement of the spirit, of the soul's garment into the vibration and frequency of the divine breath, which is the divine breath of our Father, the Godhead, the Divine One, which is the liberation of removing oneself from material or matter-based, body-based birth. Virtue is really gnosis. Virtue is behaving in the vibration of grace. Every action, word, and thought, every intention is vibrating in that state of grace, and therefore executed in such. It's not a human virtue, it's not egotistic virtue or self-righteous or the do-gooding ego massage that we give us. This is not the virtue this is talking about. This is referring to the vibration of our soul garment closer to the frequency of the spirit, therefore guiding every action, word, every thought, every decision, every intention, and mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, or energetic in life. Concentration is meditation, prayer, and silence. Wisdom is gnosis that comes from that practice. Gnosis is knowledge of the divine self, knowledge of the divine reality, of the divine truth. Liberation then leads to nibbana, leads to enlightenment. Enlightenment is the unveiling of wisdom through gnosis, through experience, through wisdom. Wisdom is not knowledge, it's not intellect, it's not intelligence. It's a mix of all of them through concentration, prayer, and meditation, and virtue, which is moving the spirit, moving the soul into the vibration of the spirit, leading into liberation, which is the removal of ourselves from the cycle of rebirth or nibbana. This is what this is. On 4 traits that lead to the ruin of a person: praising the unpraiseworthy. We can be indifferent there. Denouncing that which is to be denouncing that which should be devalued, i.e. ignoring, going to the left or the right. Believing that which is unworthy of belief, i.e. moving towards spirituality and disbelieving it, and disbelieve, believing that which is unworthy, which is on the left, and disbelief which is worthy to belief, which is on the right. Remember, the broad channel is in the middle, and you have 2 narrow channels on either side. The left will lead into the darkness, lead into very dark practices and behaviors. This is what we need to avoid. The right is moving towards grace. The middle tribute has many infinite amount of tributaries and passages one can follow. And this is driven by your own free will and your own nature but above all, the vibration of your soul's garment and the frequency of it. On 4 types of people: those that go with the flow, like material beings, indulge in sense desires; against the flow, which renounces all sense desires; have controlled fetters, which is I don't identify with the body, and move beyond into the spiritual realms of identification of true reality; remove doubt from their lives, the attachment to ritualistic behaviors, tendencies that just are ritualistic, and practices of ego spirituality, virtue signaling spirituality, and New Age spirituality, which is really just based on a very abstract view of things. And if you notice, New Age, they'll never say God, they'll never say the Divine Father, they'll never say the Divine Grace. They'll always talk about consciousness. This is a reluctance to move into a realistic state, because if you're fearful of saying that word or the word, and you concentrate on your consciousness, an infinite pool of something, then it's failing to move on other stones across the river, in my opinion. Sense desire, which is locked into the 5 senses and the mind, and ill will, which is really just ill will against to others, malevolent behavior rather than benevolent, and again removing oneself from the vibration of spirit. For there are 4 types of people: those who gain a little knowledge and are not changed, a little knowledge and are changed, gain a lot of knowledge but do not change, gain a lot of knowledge and are changed. The final is obviously where we're trying to move to. We can move back and forth from all of the others along that journey. Those that understand it and make life changes. Confidences of Buddha are knowledge that he has attained enlightenment. Not just Buddha, all avatars, all knowledge, all gnosis. Remember, we are not here to worship the form. We're here to understand and ingest and absorb and process within our soul, moving towards spirit, the teachings of those that come to give us gnosis of all of the many petals of the lotus flower that unveil knowledge. In the middle is the golden center. Buddha and its Buddhist teachings are just one petal. The Buddhas of Christ, the teachings of Christ, Yeshua are another petal. Krishna, another petal. Internal spirituality, that which comes from within to without, is another petal. There are many, many petals. How many petals are on yours? Your individual lotus flower is completely determined by one's own free will and the passages that we take in life. The narrow channel is the narrow channel. It will always be the one which will be of self, moving towards grace. The large, broad channel will be many, many channels of gnosis, of loss, of distraction, of illusion and delusion, of truth, of non-truth, reality, non-reality. This is really up to you. This will form the number of petals on your lotus flower. Okay, knowledge, he is free from human desires. Knowledge, he has to correctly identify the impediments of living the holy life, which is a difficult passage. Remember, the spiritual passage is not one of virtue. It's one of internal change and life change. It's a life change. Knowledge that his teachings lead his followers to enlightenment, which is again nibbana, it's gnosis. Inform undertakings to control sense desire, to dispel detachment to sense desire, to cultivate the 7 factors of enlightenment, which is mindfulness, investigation to the teachings, many, remember, not just Buddha's, all teachings, vitality, joy, serenity, concentration, and equanimity. To guard against repulsive meditation. Now, I would guess this again, I've mentioned before, upon the skeleton. This would be meditation upon that which is not really of divine vibration, I would suspect. On characteristics of the Buddha, it is not deluded by the world. He's perfectly enlightened. He's perfectly consistent. Does as he says and says as he does. Is powerful in full understanding of the world. Is always very specific on the 4 wheels, which is the dharmic wheels of learning, gnosis, the right location for living with great companions. Your companions will change as you form through spirituality. personal development, and an accumulation of good karma. Karma, remember, is real, is persistent, is infinite, remains with you forever, for infinite time, which is energetic vibration back and forth. That's what it is. What you put out, you will receive in vibrationary forms, vibratory actions, word, thoughts, and intentions, and cause and effect. 4 signs of the truly wise person, who speaks clearly on what he has learned and remembered: mindfulness, and ability to remember that which has been said and done. Demonstrated intelligence and a work ethic. On how there is no place in the world not subject to birth, decay, death, and destruction. This is the nature of matter. Our 4 things that produce teachings. Faith in the Buddhist community, all communities, I would say here. Virtues that lead to right concentration. Remember, virtues is really your soul's garment moving into the frequency of light. Wealthy through right livelihood. You know, this is really related to, we follow the passage that grace is intended, or you intended for yourself, which is always towards grace. Then wealth, then abundance and contentment and peace will follow. This is implied in that journey. This is what this means. To attain fame, not fame. This is moving, attaining gnosis and passing it on. To have a long, good life and attain heavenly rebirth, which is removing oneself from material matter rebirth. These 4 are rare things contribute to the development of virtues, which is moral precepts: killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, intoxication, and faith in the Buddha, generosities and wisdom. These are implied journeys. If you have these, then you're not on the spiritual path. On how honours bring ruin to the weak. There are 4 right efforts, which is 1, eliminate bad karma, generate and maintain good karma. On 4 things that mark the ignoble person. Is quick to blame others, does not praise those deserving praise, hides their own blameworthiness, shouts their own praises. On the 4 things that mark a noble person, which is slow to blame others, praise the deserved, and confessing their faults, and does not shout their own praises. Remember, that it doesn't mean not being confident of oneself as one passes through material life. You need to be confident and assertive, but do it from with the strength from within, not external arrogance. On how a novice monk should be as humble as a new wife. Remember, this is when it was written. This is why I pulled this out. Don't be triggered by what you read in ancient texts. On the 4 highest things: virtue, meditation, wisdom, and pure thoughts. On the 4 inappropriate things: unanswerable, unsuitable, unthinkable, forbidden subjects that should not be pondered or discussed. There are no subjects that should not be pondered or discussed, but there will be those that you will pass through in your own journey. Gnosis is not just what you select, it is everything that you must know or comes to you or you pass through along this journey that you are on. We all have different things that we will pass through, and study them only as much as they serve purpose. On the nature of the Buddha, the spheres of higher mind or meditative ecstasies, the nature of operation of karma and its fruits, questions of the origin and the nature of the world, and if pondered, the results being insanity. So Buddha says we shouldn't be pondering these things, but we should be pondering these. We should be understanding these to more depth. More depth requires concentration, meditation, ponderance, and silence. Ponderance is just reflection. So we can take this 2 ways, but I would suspect Buddha is encouraging in these texts to ponder these things, but he's also saying we don't need to worry about whether or not we exist after death or other questions. Well, if they come to you, then do ponder them. Okay, on 4 types of people who through meditation gain peace but not wisdom. There are 4 types of people through meditation get peace but not wisdom, gain wisdom but not peace, gain neither wisdom nor peace, gain both peace and wisdom. Obviously, again, like before, we're looking to achieve the latter, but we will go through both, all of the others from time to time along this journey. On the 4 things that benefit the progress of a monk, remember, monk is anyone on a spiritual path. Is virtue, remember, soul to spirit is virtue. Quick intelligence, patience, perseverance, and kindness. On how, like a king's battle elephant, a monk should become a destroyer, destroying all sense desire, a listener, paying attention to the Buddha's teachings and all teachings, persevering, bears suffering lightly, and a follower, following the direction and instruction in the Buddha's dispensation or any dispensation. On the 4 fears springing from wrong thought, wrong speech, wrong action, self-criticism, external criticism, punishment, and unhappy birth. These are the things that we should be transcending away from. On how one may refrain from evil by considering the punishment meted out by kings. On the 4 signs that accompany the coming of a Buddha into the world. On the 4 miracles that accompany the coming of a Buddha into the world, with its population sunk in sense desire, bound by pride, encaptured by the world, with the world, and lost in ignorance. They stop, listen, strive to understand, and escape the world. So these are the things that it's saying when the world has gone into these depths of sense desire, pride, encaptured by the world and lost in ignorance. They stop to listen. They don't stop to listen. This is where avatars appear in the world. On the 4 types of people in the world, the once returner, the one bound for heavenly rebirth, the non-returner, and the enlightened one. The 4 types of people, those with taints, these are impure thoughts, speech, and actions. Those, and I would say actions, word, thoughts, and intentions, actually. Those with many taints, those with few taints, and those who are perfectly pure. We're not going to get perfectly pure in human form, so don't try to attain it. It's not possible. Anyone who says that they are in this life is not telling you the truth. We can attain only so much when in form, but enough to remove from the cycle of material rebirth. They are free of impure thoughts, speech, and actions. Actions, word, thoughts, and intentions are guided by the Spirit, in other words. On 4 types of people in the world, those with controlled mind but uncontrolled body, those with uncontrolled mind but control of the body, those with neither controlled or nor controlled body, and those with both controlled mind and controlled body. Again, we will pass through all, but the latter is what we're trying to move towards. Okay, on the 4 powers, the strength, wisdom, vigor, purity, self-control, and faith. On the 2 types of sickness, mental and physical. Of course, that's self-explanatory. On the 4 things that lead to bad karma, which is called demerit, is ill will, ignorance, greed, and the lack of wisdom, which is lack of gnosis. On 4 foundations of the body, food, craving, pride, sexual congress, these are material attachments, which is Buddhism teaches you to move away from, but all teachings actually ask you to move away from. They don't call it detachment. They just ask us to move away from materialism, material desire, the physicality aspects of the attraction of the world. Excuse me. On 4 ways enlightenment is attained: impatiently, patiently, self-controlled, and detached. On karma formations leading to existence, the self, bear with me a moment, I've lost my place there. One's own thoughts, speech, action, the effect of thoughts, speech, action of others. So this is one thing I want to pull out: action of others. Neither one's own thoughts, speech, action, or thoughts, speech, action of others. Reasons people do not reach enlightenment. What to abandon, they don't know what to abandon, what to hold fast, what to progress to, and what conduces to true insight. They need to understand these things through following teachings of externally and from within to without. Remember, karma can also be, others' karma can be impacted on yourself. So we can go through life and we can be impacted by the imposition of someone else's free will decision. It doesn't mean that we have bad karma and we have attracted this to ourselves. I don't espouse to this one rule that everything that happens to us is because we deserve it, or because it's our karma, or because we've done something wrong in life. It's not to do that. We have made decisions or erred on error to cause things to occur to us, as well as our own action, word, thoughts, and intentions creating cause and effect. But someone can take a free will decision completely unrelated to us, but impact our lives at the same time. That doesn't mean we're karmically have negative karma creating this force. There can be. This is the nature of free will. If the nature of others' free will to impact us wasn't there, then that would imply that everything is predetermined. Everything in your life is predetermined. Everything you brought upon yourself, every action, every word, every thought, every impact on your life, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, and energetic, is imposed by you and you only. Therefore, free will does not exist. Free will does exist, and others can impose into your life. Others can impact you in ways. It is how you deal with that karmically, how you deal with that energetically, mentally, emotional, physical, spiritual, energetic, which matters. This is a free will world, and chaos ensues in a free will world of change. Change is chaos. It's unpredictability of others, of that which surrounds us. But we can control a lot of that, but through spiritual movement and insight, manifesting things in our lives, emitting a vibratory energy, which as we walk down the golden path towards grace, nothing can touch us, not even those impositions and random impositions of free will of others. This is how it is controlled. If you just walk through life with none of that, then the greater impositions of the external will impact the personal and the private of the internal of yourself. On four things one must bear alone and cannot share, which is decay, sickness, death, and the effects of bad karma. On four types that fear death, those that still in the grip of greed, clinging, passion, and desire of sense pleasure. Those still in the grip of greed, clinging, passion, and desire for life. Those who have not made merit or committed heinous acts. Those who doubt the Buddha's teachings. All of this is the material person, the material man, the material woman. Those who have identity self of only self. Those who cling on to the desire for further life, longer life, who like to dominate everything within the human world and the material world, to be gods here. Those who think they are gods within themselves and their material selves, in fact, to govern the world. Those are the ones who fear death because they wish to cling on to long life, and they wish to control death also, what comes after death. This is a failure of humanity. It thinks it can control and be its own God. It's the God of everything, the universe, the galaxy, life, death, the energy in between, the reality in between, spirit in between, God, the grace itself. Humans have tried to think they are as powerful as. This is the great loss in the world, and godlessness infers from it. On four things to be achieved by the body, 8 liberations and 4 meditative ecstasies, which are called yanas, is the sphere of space, the sphere of consciousness, the sphere of nothingness, the sphere of either perception, neither perception or non-perception. This is a grading towards what we call the soul moving towards divine light. You move through the sphere of space, the awareness of consciousness. You understand that there is a nothingness in reality. If there is something in nothingness, it's because we manifest it through an instantaneous thought. The sphere of near perception or non-perception. Achieved by right mindfulness, knowledge of previous lives. Achieved by the heavenly eye, which is the psychical eye, the intuitive eye. The ability to see anything, everywhere, anywhere. And achieved by wisdom, which is the cessation of desire, which is gnosis, remember. Okay, this word has frozen on me, so we're going to have to wait until it frees itself up for us to move forward. Apologies for this, it's frozen on my laptop for some reason. Bear with me a moment. I apologise for the delay. It tends to happen. I am going to be getting a new laptop and moving my entire editing suite onto a new space, so I can move forward with it. Okay, let's see if we can move forward with this now. Alright, number 7. On how revulsion for acts of self-mortification. Now this is definitely to be avoided. Self-mortification is not a need. This means performing acts which do not service us, which do not act, are not. Self-mortification is flagellation, self-imposed suffering, self-imposed piety. This is not the way of spiritual growth. It is just another worldly attachment and obstacle to spiritual progress. Absolutely correct. On 4 types of people: those who torment themselves, which are ascetics, they force themselves into self-imposed mortification. Those who torment others, butchers and jailers. Those who torment themselves or others, or order others to kill or sacrifice. And those who neither torment themselves nor others have no meaning. On the 4 types of persons, a bad man is faithless, shameless, disposed to evil action, uneducated, slothful, ignorant, and a stranger to wisdom. The most awful of bad men is faithless, shameless, a stranger to wisdom, disposed to evil action, uneducated, slothful, ignorant, strangers to wisdom, and the great men. The great men are not faithless, shameless, ignorant, and not disposed to evil, and not strangers to wisdom. So obviously that is self-explanatory. On 4 characteristics of the fool: lacks in gratitude, wrong thought, wrong speech, wrong action. On 4 benefits of being a good person is having increased virtue. What does this mean? The soul's vibration elevates towards the spirit. Increased meditative ability, which is concentration, mindfulness, and silence and peace. Increased wisdom, which is gnosis and knowledge unveiling itself through that process. And ultimately, enlightenment, which is the nibbana, the release from rebirth. On 4 things that lead to hell: killing, partaking in it, getting others to partake in it, endorsing it and admiring those who do it, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, slandering, harsh talk, foolish talk, ill will, and wrong view across all things. This is again self-explanatory. There are plenty in the world who engulf in these behaviours. Okay, the Kuddaka Nipata. On the detailed explanation of the 5 powers: faith, effort, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom are the 5 powers. Faith and the 4 characteristics of a stream winner. A stream winner is that which is someone who is having a success and progressing fast through the spiritual journey towards Nibbana. As a faith in the Buddha or any avatar that the study is passing through, teaching, community, virtues which conduce to the cultivation of concentration or meditation. Effort and the 4 right efforts: preventing new bad karma, eliminating bad karma, creating and maintaining good karma. Mindfulness. With mindfulness and awareness, reflection upon the body in order to eliminate craving and unhappiness with the world. With mindfulness and awareness, reflection upon the sensations in order to eliminate craving and unhappiness with the world. With mindfulness and awareness, reflection upon the nature of the mind in order to eliminate craving and unhappiness with the world. With mindfulness and awareness, reflection upon the Buddha's teachings in order to eliminate craving and unhappiness with the world. And its purpose and the attainment of a nibbana. Concentration, the 4 meditative ecstasies, which are called jhanas, which is called the state of being aloof from desires, but still observant and reflecting of desires. The state of being cut off from the desires and of a peaceful heart. The state of being happy, mindful, and at peace with everything as it is. The state beyond pleasant and unpleasant and perfect mindfulness. I want to go back to being peace with everything as it is. This means with yourself, with your progression, not trying to run before you can walk. But it does not mean accepting the world as it is, because we are here in bodies, with limbs, with minds, to act. Through the elevation of the soul and action, word, thoughts, and intentions, we have to act to help move the world in the way we wish to move it. It's not being apathetic to the world's movements and staying in one's little spiritual bubble all the time. And wisdom, the knowledge of the 4 noble truths, which is suffering, the source of suffering, the cessation of suffering, and the path that leads to the cessation of suffering. This is all about detaching and attaching to spirit, detaching from that which is not of spirit. Okay, on the 5 hindrances: passion, ill will, indolence, anxiety and doubt. On how a mind free from these hindrances becomes free to develop the 6 Abhidhamma, which are the spiritual powers. To walk through walls, to float in the air, disappearing from the world, diving into the earth as though water, walking on water and touching the moon. These are obviously saying these must be aspects which the Buddha must have been able to do metaphorically. The heavenly ear, ability to hear anything, anywhere. The ability to know the mind of others, which is intuition, telepathy. And the ability to recall past lives, which is moving into greater depths of meditation and spirit, to understand what we are, what we have been, to open up your akasha. The heavenly eye, see everything everywhere, to eliminate all desire and attain liberation. Okay, on the Buddha's reputation being the only one truly enlightened, a teacher of men and gods. His teachings is good at the start, in the middle and in the end. On the Buddha's distaste for fame and the idea that anyone would pay homage to him. This is one of the things, we're not here to give the homage and people to bow to us, for us to sit on an elevated chair where everyone sits beneath. This is every rabbi, priest, guru, pope that does this. This is attaining nobility in some stature within the godliness above all those that they're talking to, which is, if this is a passage that you wish to take it, but don't stay on these stones, because this would be a mistake. We're not here to worship another. We're here to understand that which the knowledge that and the teachings that were given to us. Wealth and honours bring compatible pleasures when compared to the pleasures of enlightenment. That's right. So wealth and honours bring contemptible pleasures when compared to the pleasures of enlightenment. They just do not and will never compare to the sensation and the gnosis and the internal joy of enlightenment, which is coming towards grace. On the visit of Princess Sumana with the Buddha, on the differences between heavenly beings, on the differences between monks, on how a long life, beauty, goodness, good reputation and heavenly rebirth are not things that come to those who seek them. They come to those who seek spiritual evolution, transformation. Transformative spirituality is what's needed. But are things that come to those who follow the teachings of Buddha and all other teachings, of course, on the 5 achievements that are unachievable by man, which is to become a Buddha or a god, escape from illness, escape from death, escape from decline, escape from death, and escape from destruction. Only a spiritual person moving to a Buddhic levels of state will escape these. On the 5 meritorious characteristics of a layperson: respect and reverence for parents, respect and kindness towards a spouse, children, slaves, well, we don't have slaves, but back then this was then, and employees, respect for peers, community and all stations of society, reverence for spiritual powers, i.e. those godly powers as they're called here, and reverence for holy persons. Not reverence that leads you to be lesser than, because you're not. You need to take teachings from people, not revere and worship the form of anything that lives. Okay, on the development of psychical power conducing towards enlightenment, on 5 insights that conduce towards giving up the worldly life, is the cessation of desire, the attainment of enlightenment, understanding the repulsiveness of the body, are you not identifying with it, using repulsiveness meditation, which is also known as foulness meditation, loathsomeness meditation, disgustingness meditation, understanding the repulsiveness of the world, understanding the impermanence of all compounded things, and understanding the true nature of death. On the 5 comfortable meditative states, There are many meditative states. Abiding in the first meditative ecstasy, which is jhana, the state of being aloof from desires, but still observant and reflective of desires. Bathing in the body in the joy of isolation, which is ultimately what we will all pass through. Abiding in the second meditative ecstasy, the state of being cut off from desires and a peaceful heart. Bathing in the body in the joy of concentration, and abiding in the third meditative ecstasy, which is the state of being happy, mindful, and at peace with everything as it is. Bathing in the body in pleasantness, free from joy. Abiding in the fourth meditative ecstasy is the state beyond pleasant and unpleasant and perfect mindfulness, covering the body with purified mind. And finally, abiding in the perfect reflection with perfect wisdom. So these are different states that we will achieve through meditation as one passes through the spiritual ascent of the soul into the divine breath of the spirit. On Mahamoggallana's meeting with Kakudu, the 5 types of foolish teachers they were discussing. These are disciples of Buddha and those who have also left Buddha's teachings. The unvirtuous teachers who claim to be virtuous, teachers of wrong livelihood who claim to have right livelihood, the impure teachers who claim to be pure, the teachers of wrong doctrine who claim to teach pure doctrine, and the teachers with poor knowledge and understanding who claim to have great knowledge and insight. There are all manner of all of these in this world. Be very, very mindful, be very, very aware, and as mentioned before, do not follow or worship another person. Rabbi, priest, or pope, guru, anyone on a mountaintop claiming to be the conduit of the divine, it does not exist, it will never exist. There is only the temple, with the meditative temple within yourself. You are the temple, you are the bridal chamber. Take the teachings from whomever and wherever they come from, but do not worship the form of another. The teachings is what you're here to absorb, to understand. This is what creates gnosis and wisdom from within to without. It is not the form that is to be worshipped. It is what is left from them through the teachings, the wisdom, the gnosis, the writings, the psalms, whatever it may be that you're here to understand. On the behavior of good monks, remember, monks is anyone in the spiritual path, on the 5 things that contribute to a harmonious community: loving kindness expressed through thoughts, loving kindness expressed through speech, loving kindness expressed through action, mindfulness, and the right view. On the 5 that indicate the liberation of a monk, follows a higher code of ethics, takes right action, and fears the slightest bit of impurity, is learned, cherishes the Buddha's teachings from its first to last word, and uses teachings as a guide to the holy life. Remembers the Buddha's teachings, recites the teachings, understands the teachings, and has insight into the teachings, is content with the basic robes, food, shelter, medicine, and medicine is available to those in the holy life, and is available to quickly attain the 4 meditative ecstasies and higher meditative spheres. Again, there's a lot there, but these are passages in which we will all pass through. We don't need to try to pass through these. We will. We all will, as we persevere through the passage of the soul into the spirit. Remember, that's what we're here. The soul is trying to do. Remove the stain through incarnational life that it's achieved to clear itself and become as pure as the divine spirit, or as pure as needed from the material life. There are forms beyond the material life which we will also experience. On 5 abilities: discern what is good, the ability to discern truth and teachings, the ability to appraise, the ability to know appropriate times, the ability to know the heart of others. So this is all about being mindful, discernment and judgment upon all things, and then understanding the intuitive psychical self to be able to sense the mind, the ability, the perception, intentions of others. On 5 things that can lead a good monk to stray from the holy life: taking pleasure in taking pleasure in talking, taking pleasure in bragging, taking pleasure in worldly things, inattention while listening to the Buddha's teachings, in failings to meditate successfully, wearing poor hemp clothes. The five reasons people live in the solitary existence. They refuse to eat outside proper times. People eat only morsel from a single bowl due to foolishness, due to being ignorant, due to harbouring wicked desires, due to mental illness, and on the basis of the Buddha's praise for eating only a morsel of food from a single bowl while pursuing the holy life. Eat what is needed but not excessively. Gluttony is not part of a spiritual journey. But neither is self-flagellation and self-piety and sufferance through not eating enough. There's nothing to be gained through suffering, by the way. On 5 outcomes for a person hearing the Buddha's teachings. Hears new ideas, becoming from old ideas, eliminates doubt and uncertainty, gains right view, becomes quiet. On the 5 dangers of sleeping without mindfulness. You get poor sleep, difficult awakening, you have bad dreams, disfavour of the gods, and engages in impure speech and action. The 5 hazards of wandering endlessly. Failure to progress in the holy life, failure to gain spiritual confidence, 5 hazards of staying in one place, the too many possessions and acquires more still. 5 hazards of wealth. Wealth may be burned in fire, lost in a flood, be lost to kings, to thieves, be lost to unloving families. On the 5 characteristics that conduce a monk, living in residence with other monks, or surrounding yourself with spiritual-like people. To achievement in holy life, which is having good manners, adherence to the community laws, mastery of the Buddha's doctrine, observance of times of solitary meditation, and the higher moral precepts, an increase in wisdom as such. And final slide on this, on 5 things that will result in a monk being born in hell. Envy for homes, envy for families, envy for things, envy for beautiful forms, envy for the achievement of others in the Buddha's teachings. Guilt, so jealousy and envy. The green-eyed monster. On the 5 hazards of ill will, self-blame and recrimination. Blame and recrimination from the wise, a bad name, dying in ignorance, and rebirth into hell. These are all obvious clear hazards. On the 5 benefits of ill will, no reason for self-blame or recrimination, no blame or recrimination from the wise, a good name, and dying without ignorance, and rebirth in heaven. Why both duality? We have duality always. On 5 things that result in a monk being reborn in hell: killing, stealing, sexual activity, lying and partaking in intoxicants, the moral precepts. The 5 things that result in a monk being reborn in heaven are the opposite: abstaining from killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, and intoxicants. Okay, that was quite a long passage there, but remember, the second coming is always going to be you. It always has been you. There won't be anything else. The chamber the bridal chamber is within your own souls, moving to spiritual breath, which is also within you. It calls both together. They were together at the inception of your creation. But life, incarnational experience in this realm of matter, the universal realm, the cosmos itself experience, is that which has detached the soul from the purity of the spirit. We are stained. Our garments have different colours and greys and hues. We need to clear them. This is what incarnational life is. The repeated life cycle of life is gnosis, becoming that from which we came. Transformative, not ritualistic, because it's just virtuous and it'll have no purpose. Okay, I want to say thank you everyone for listening to this, and apologies for the restart of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave comments and likes. Share this with others if they would benefit. But continue on with the journey. And God bless to you all. Until next time. Thank you.